We've got our first non-remixed legendary in the Hall of Forms and also the same character appearing twice in that same batch, so a lot of precedents has been broken, and this is going to be my Forma building guide for this month's Hall of Forms. We're going to be having skills up to the Mythic Loki banner, which means that Magic Shield Plus is going to be available for Fallen Maria. Unfortunately, Breath of Life 4 is not going to be available, which is definitely one of the skills that she really wanted. So let us start with Legendary Marth. He's definitely a really old fire legendary unit, and he's going to be needing Red Dual Infantry 4 to function in Arena, but still he can work decently well because this weapon just gives him pure stats. It gives him +8 to all of these stats, and then it also has the bonus doubler 3 built in, and it also has Spectrum Immunity built in. So before we got a lot of ploy skills, you would just run him with Legendary Male Robin and stack up the debuffs and just get a lot of stats in the combat. You've probably seen the screenshots with 99 attack and 99 speed on Legendary Marth, which is still something you can do, but it's not going to be as easy as before because of the ploy skills, and he's going to be able to stack up a lot of stats and still just be a really good Dragon Slayer in something like Arena Assault when it comes to the competitive game modes. He does have his remix Shining Emblem, which is going to be giving him +6 to all of his stats and also allows you to give the allies in 2 spaces with the +6 attack buff. And you do get the scaling based off his speed, which does help because he's going to be stacking up a lot of speed because of his weapon. And then after his special has triggered, he's going to be giving +6 buff to all of his allies. Shining Emblem can still be helpful because of the stat stacking he can do with his weapon and the bonus doubler effect. But at high investment, you definitely want to run something else. And Binding Shield 2 is the reason why he can be a really good Dragon Slayer. So if he wins the speed check, or if he's against a dragon foe, then he gets the guaranteed follow-up attack, and the foe cannot make a counter attack or get a follow-up attack. So just like a special, this is still going to be useful, but it definitely can be replaced with the other options that you can get in this Hall of Forms. So you should only be getting Legendary Marth if he's one of your favorites, or if you're trying to finish your plus and merge on him, or if you've already plus and merged him, then this is going to be a good chance of updating his skills. So for his special, you can get Godlike Reflexes because it is still going to be working with Lagoose Friend. It's a pretty common misconception that you need the Godlike Reflexes to be at 3 cooldown, but there's no special cooldown requirement for the defensive specials. You only need the 3 cooldown special with the offensive specials, which Godlike Reflexes is not. But if you don't want to run Lagoose Friend, then you can pick up No Quarter for the damage reduction piercing, but you can still get Godlike Reflexes because he's going to be able to tank with that skill, and Distant Bonus Doubler is going to be the slotty skill to get because he is going to be stacking up a lot of stats with his weapon. You can still get Bonus Doubler 4, but I kind of like Distant Bonus Doubler a bit more because you get the distant counter effect, and if nothing else, and if you get really unlucky, then Attack Speed Unity is going to be the option that you could pick up. And for slot B, Lagoose Friend is going to be an amazing slot B option because if you're trying to tank using his defense, which you can stack with his weapon, then you're going to be getting a lot of flat damage reduction and true damage, and you can also use the speed with Godlike Reflexes, and with the special jumping you're going to be able to easily trigger it and also get that full damage reduction piercing. But if you don't really want to tank with him, then you could try and get Potent 4, but you're not going to be getting the damage reduction piercing which Lagoose Friend gives you, which is really important. This is a really expensive skill that you can get the full value out of by using your Forma Soul. And for slots you have a couple of options. Infantry Null Follow-Up allows him to get that full Null Follow-Up and also get the Order status for the mobility, while also giving some support to your infantry allies. But you can also run Pulse Up Blades if you want to get some visible buffs, and Panic Smoke 4 could also be helpful for Omni tanking with its stat stacking. And Infantry Pulse 4 could also be an option because if you're going to be using him in Arena, then this is an option, especially with R Dual Infantry 4. And unfortunately, he's going to be missing out on Breath of Life 4, which would have been a really good option with this kind of build. Legendary Caeda is going to be getting her Refine and Remix down the line in 2025. It should be around mid of 2025, so this is going to be a Refine gamble that you'll have to take. So her preferred weapon, Wing Lifted Spear, is not the most impressive weapon. Still, it does have Counter 2 built in, so at least she doesn't have to run any kind of Near Tray skill, and it also has the effective damage against armor and cavalry foes. It doesn't really have minus and special cooldown, instead it gives her +3 attack, and she also gets +5 to all of her stats, and does have the foe buff stealer effect, and it is similar to Binding Necklace of Freya, so it is helpful in Arena where she's mainly going to be used against the visible buffs of the enemy units, with their rally skills, and this weapon is definitely lacking some effects which hopefully she can get with her refine. And her slot B skill Faithful Loyalty is also a bit lacking, so against armor foes and cavalry foes she's able to get that instant advantage, and on paper this seems pretty insane, but in practice you're going to be facing a lot of cavalry threats with damage reduction against whom she doesn't really get anything, and they're still going to be living through their damage reduction, so it could be a bit annoying, but it can definitely come in handy many times because you can take out some kind of range threat with this kind of instant advantage. And she also gets half null follow up, the offensive half, with this skill, so hopefully she can get full null follow up upon her remix, and then after the combat she's able to get that Vantage status, which again seems really good on paper, but she's not going to be having the highest damage throughput to completely kill a lot of foes with this Vantage effect, so she needs a lot more damage output when she gets her remix or refine. Unlike Legendary Marth, she's a pair-up legendary unit, so she has got a bit better arena scoring. So if you're trying to merge her up or even use her in her bonus rotation, then this could help you get some updated skills on her. So it depends on which way you want to take her in terms of the build. If you want to build more for the mix phase, which she's ultimately going to be getting the remix for, I think, then you could try and get this build, and no quarter is easily going to be the best special you can get. You're going to be needing some help from Emblem Marth and also some special charges, but still it is going to be giving you the best value for your Forma. And then for her slaughter you can run Distance Attack Speed Solo, which can help you function in the mix phase, but if you just want to tank the melee foes, then Firestorm Booster could be an option, and Attack Speed Prime could also be run because she is able to give herself the Vantage status and the Rain Snap status, so those two can help towards getting the distant counter effect. But I kind of like Distant Attack Speed Solo a bit more because you don't only need like 4 status effects for it. And then for the slot bay you have a couple of options for the mix phase. You can use Guard Bearing, which can give her the damage reduction, which is really helpful for tanking the cavalry threats, and no quarter could be run with Guard Bearing 4, which cannot be said for Gambit 4 as it will need you to run Ether, and she doesn't have minus in special cooldown, so she can make use out of Gambit, but I kind of like Guard Bearing and no quarter a bit more because you're able to run that special and get the damage reduction piercing, which is so important nowadays. And Gambit 4 does give you a bit more true damage, but you're not going to be getting Vantage if you're going to be running Gambit on her. So that's why I kind of like Guard Bearing a bit more, but Potent 4 could also be an option that you can run. For her slots you can run Speed Defense Rain Snap as it is going to be giving the support, and also it gives her the +1 movement, which is amazing with the Canto 2 from her preferred weapon. So it allows for better hit and run, and you can also run Soaring Guidance or Guidance 4 if you want that warping support. And even Fatal Smoke 4 could be run if you want to improve her matchup against Brave Seliph, because Brave Seliph is going to be getting a weapon refine this year, and if he gets a really good weapon refine, then Fatal Smoke 4 is going to be helping you get past the non-special miracle effects. If you want to take the player phase route, then you can definitely go with Flared Sparrow as it is going to be the best slotty skill you can get for that, and you still want to get no quarter, but for the slot B you can get aerial maneuver so that you can have the 2-space warping, which is again going to be useful with her Canto 2. You can also run Flow Desperation or Flow Refresh if you don't get aerial maneuvers. And then for her slots, she has got the good old options with Soaring Guidance, Guidance 4 and Rain Snap. And Soaring Guidance can definitely be really helpful in arena if you have some kind of allies that need the warping support. And Guidance 4 can help you if you have got some kind of armor unit as part of your arena core. Fallen Maria is a bit more than a year old and she's not really as meta as she used to be, but still she can be helpful with the life unending support that she can provide. Unfortunately, Breath of Life 4 is not going to be here, which would have been a really good slotsy skill. So she has got the Dazzling Staff effect in her Sacrifice Staff, and it also gives her minus in special cooldown, and then she can get +5 to all of her stats and also the Null Guard effect, and to the allies in 2 spaces she gives +4 to all of these stats and the life unending support, which is basically Miracle that heals you up for 99 HP, and this is going to be once per map. And she can still be helpful in a lot of team compositions in Summoner Duels S and also in Aether Raid's defense. She could also be used in Aether Raid's offense, but there are just so many better support units that you could run instead. So she already has a pretty nice base kit and she wants to keep Poetic Justice, but one skill that you really want to get on her is definitely Magic Shield Plus. So this is a game changer because this can give you the extra action, and it also gives the null penalty status to the target ally. So you want to get this, and then for her special you can get one of the healer specials. I definitely like Glitter of Light, which you can pick up, and it does have the flash status. And for her slot A, attack speed finish could be the skill to take because she does have the null guard in her weapon, so she's able to get the effect out of this quite easily. But depending on the build that you're trying to support with, you can either run Still Water with deploy skills or run Firestorm Boost 3 with Infantry Pulse 4. So this is just an example of what you could do. If you don't want to double down that much for the support, then attack speed finish can still be a slot A option you can pick up. And for the slot B, there are no real options. You can pick up Wings of Mercy 4 as an alternate premium option, but she always wants to run Poetic Justice. She already has the null guard in her weapon, so Wrathful Tempo is also not that big of a game changer. You could try and get Dazzling Discord. She already has Dazzling Staff effect, but you could just inflict the Discord status on the enemy. And if you want to get some damage reduction piercing, then Magical Null follow-up could be an option that you can pick up. And for slot C, because she's not going to be able to get Breath of Life 4, you can at least try and get Infantry Null follow-up 4 as one of the support options. But again, depending on the slot A skill, you could pick your supportive option, either a Ploy skill or Infantry Pulse 4. And you can also try and get Counter Control, which is especially helpful for Ether Raid's defense and also for Summoner Duels S. We've got another Maria, and fortunately this one is a lot more cheerful. So she has got Pastel Poleaxe as her preferred weapon. This gives her +3 defense, and it also has the Iot shield effect, so she can easily tank a lot of ranged threats and even archers. And this weapon is a bit old, but still useful, giving her +5 to all of these stats, true damage based on 20% of her defense, and also flat damage reduction based on 20% of her defense. This is definitely really helpful because it helps her function as a tank, and it also gives her 7 HP healing after the combat and also to the allies in 2 spaces. So you definitely want to have a full kit revamp on her because there are a lot better skills that she can get compared to her base kit. So for the special, again, No Quarter is going to be the best premium special for most of the melee flyers. And for slot A, you can run Earth Wind Boost, which can give you some extra HP, and Spring Maria doesn't really have as much HP, so this can be helpful. And you can also get the guard effect, but if you want to get the distant counter out of your slot A skill, then Distant Defense Res Solo is going to be the option. And by far the best skill for her to pick up is going to be Wyvern Rift, because it's such an amazing skill, giving you the flat damage reduction, which adds up with your weapon, and it also has the pseudo Diamant effect, which makes it really hard for the enemies to double you. And she is not really all that slow, so she can make use of this really well compared to a lot of the other units. And for the slots, if she's going to be functioning as a frontliner, then you can get the warping support with Soaring Guidance. But again, Rain Snap could be an option, especially if you run her with Distant Defense Res Solo. Wyvern Rift is a really busted skill, and she has got the defense to make full use of this, even at +1 merch, so you should definitely be considering to get this if you're going to be using a Forma Soul on her. Next month, we should be getting a Shadows of Valentia holoforms, and we have got literally 2 options for red and green pool. Mila and Duma are also going to be rerunning in June, so they have a pretty good chance of appearing. So Valentine Conrad, I think, might appear in the red slot because he's there in the Divine Codes, and they love putting the Divine Codes units there. And for blue, I think that Estes is probably going to be getting her chance because her other sisters have already been in the holoforms, and she's the only one left. And for the colorless pool, I think we're going to be having a double dip with Mila and Duma. So this is going to be really helpful for so many people that have Mila as part of their mythic core. And now you're going to be able to get some really premium skills on her. So I hope that Mila doesn't get left behind, because I think that Duma is probably going to be there because he's a really old mythic unit, and in fact, the first mythic unit that we got. You can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of the new summer banner, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as the units trying to get Breath of Life 4 in this holo forms. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.